Hello, everybody. Okay, welcome. Just waiting for the numbers to go up. All right, how's everybody this morning? If you can hear me, please leave a hello, a hi, an emoji, whichever you're more comfortable with in the comment section below. Just to let me know that you can hear me clearly. Yeah, right. People are coming in. How is everybody doing this morning? Is everybody okay? It's not very early, but it is a public holiday. So, or at least it's a public holiday in Malaysia. So it might be early for some people. Long time no see. Yes. Right. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. We'll wait for like another minute or so just to make sure the numbers go up. All right. Maybe before we start this whole thing, just let me know where you guys are from or watching from. Whether you're from Malaysia, because I think the last time we had this webinar session, we had a few people from other countries as well. So kind of want to see where everybody is from. Are you guys from Malaysia, KL, where I'm at? Or I think we had Singapore, a few people from Singapore the last time. We had a few people from Indonesia as well, I think. Oh, look, we have someone from Singapore. Good morning. This is a very international live stream. So that's great. All right. Okay. A lot of Malaysia. So okay, it's not the MCO hasn't been lifted, but it's been like loosened a little bit for Malaysia. So I think a number of you have gone back to work, I assume. So have some of you gone back to work? Are you guys working this week? Have you guys gone back to the office after like a month of being stuck at home? Yes. All right. I think we have a good number now. I won't wait any further. So let's get started. So welcome again. Thank you. Happy Wesak to everybody. Today is another public holiday. It kind of seems like it's a running theme for us. But thank you for joining us this morning and taking your public holiday morning to join us during this for this live stream. So before I actually go into we go into the actual topic, which is the digital branding during the times of pandemic. I'll introduce a little bit about Open Academy first. So the Facebook page that you're actually tuning in from. So as you can see from the screen, we are from Open Minds to Open Academy. So I'll share a little bit about Open Minds first. So for Open Minds, we are a marketing technology company that has been in the industry for about 8 years now. We do digital consultation, tech innovation, we do digital creative. So whatever that falls under marketing technology, we kind of do and we run. So what happens with Open Academy is that we are the education arm of Open Minds. So we have served over 100 brands across APAC and Europe, across the country, doing basically the things that I mentioned, whether it's digital consultation all the way to tech development. We have been featured on a number of media. If you Google us, you should be able to find us on certain publications and media as well. Don't do it now. Do it after this session, please. And then the last one is that we influence about thousands of people monthly. So we do quite a number of speaking engagements, seminars, talks, webinars like these, conferences, locally and also internationally. Okay. So just to share a little bit more about Open Academy with you, we, like the first point mentioned, we try to bring you real life practical insights and applications to your work or to your learning, right? No fluff from client to classroom. So like mentioned before, we have served quite a number of clients over the past 8 years. So what we want to bring to you is real life experiences and also insights from clients that we have experienced, unique experiences that we have experienced with clients, and what works for our clients, we want to bring that to you. The second thing is that a lot of our trainers, or most of our trainers, are actually practicing experts as instructors. So these are the people that are actually within the industry, doing the work, talking to clients, consulting clients, and bringing that to you. We also have cross-industry alumni network. So once you have joined an Open Academy, we connect you with people. So because we've been in the industry for a while, if you're looking for different partnerships or collaborations, or even connections with the students themselves, we bring you that kind of networking kind of environment. And last one is the access to lifelong support. So after you have actually joined Open Academy or joined any of our talks, speaking engagement, you have access to our lifelong support. So we won't kind of have you kind of teach you once and then after that kind of throw you to fend for yourselves. We want to be able to support you. So we have many students that are still in contact with us, that reach out to us even until now to ask questions, get consultation. So we have this lifelong support for all our alumni. So without further ado, I will be introducing our speaker for today. He is the founder and online strategist at Open Minds. He is Jen. So his list of accomplishment is a lot, but I will just highlight a few. He's been featured with Forbes 30 Under 30 Asia. He is a 2-time TEDx talk speaker. He is currently a part-time lecturer. He is also sitting at the academic advisory board for 2 universities. So without further ado, I will be putting Jen in and I will step out of the way. All right. So hand it over to Jen.
Sure. Thanks, Celine. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for spending once again your public holiday with us. For the next 1 hour, I really want to maximize this 1 hour, right, to actually share as much as I can with you on the current state of branding and where is branding actually heading towards during this pandemic and after the pandemic. I was reading an article by Harvard Business Review, which I thought very apt to start off today's session. It's a little bit doom and gloom, but if you can see it on the screen, it says nearly a quarter of brands globally have actually gone dark in this situation. So what it means is that they've all gone silent. They've paused their paid marketing. They're just sitting down waiting for things to happen. It's really crazy because a quarter of brands globally is a huge number out there not spending anymore. And I think you have also experienced this. This whole pandemic has changed many things, right? From our user behavior, we spoke about how we use tech, how we respond to marketing, how we spend, how we communicate. Pretty much everything we do has been affected, has also changed. And some of us are still within the stay-home order in the circuit breaker. In Malaysia, we are kind of like in MCO, but also came out from MCO. But one thing remains still the same, is that businesses are still trying to find their foot in this entire climate. They're still trying to find the best way to do digital marketing. They're still trying to find the best way to go on tech, go on branding, and all of that. And this is the purpose of today's session. So I'll just start off by sharing with you 3 things what other people, other companies, other brands are doing. So there are 3 categories of things that brands are actually focusing on right now. The first thing is that a lot of brands are already adopting tech in businesses. Yes, there's still quite a number trying to resist technology. They're trying to put aside to say, hey, it's not for me. It's not I can't sell. My product and services are not designed for online sales, or I can't solicit customers because that's not me. My business is traditional. I need to feel, I need to see, I need to touch. That is true. However, adopting tech in business or going to tech at this point of time does not necessarily mean an overhaul, like a whole digital transformation process for a business. It does not need to be that way. It's really as simple as just converting parts, right? The keyword here is parts of your business, whether it's on operations, whether it's on communication, whether it's on collaboration, whatever it is, to see if you can maintain the level of productivity. Because brands also recognize that at this point of time, if they're not able to use digital to make sales, at the very least is to maintain certain level of productivity. So if you're wondering what are the areas that could be relevant to you when it comes to tech, there's six. I won't spend too much time going through all that. But as a company, if you're watching as a marketer or as a business owner, the first things you should be looking at what part of my company can I adopt technology? Is it customer support? Is it the sales component? Is it internal team communications? Is it the awareness component? Or is it marketing? But just speaking about marketing and awareness at this point of time, there is quite a bit of changes and highlights that I would like to share with you, right? If you look at marketing, Facebook, we all know it's one of the world's largest social networks, but within this period of time, there's a 70% increase of usage in terms of the users, and WhatsApp, 40%, right? But at the same time, on the advertising perspective, the current cost per click has actually decreased by 26%, meaning it's cheaper to buy ads right now. Good news for some of you out there. At the same time, maintaining click-through rate. Right? So it's interesting. Within this pandemic situation, the ads became cheaper, but the performance of ad remains the same. The click-through rate is still high. And from the awareness perspective, it's not just Facebook having an increase of 70% users, but the engagement actually has also increased 108%. Why? Very simple. We are consumers, we are at home, we are browsing, we are consuming content. However, what's even more amazing is that Instagram at this point of time is still 16 times higher than Facebook's engagement in the month of March. And the highest engagement is on Instagram stories. Yes, photos are still giving a very good traction over there, but stories is what consumers are really doubling on right now, in not just doubling, but 16 times more this time in this period. The second thing that companies are looking to do right now is create future demand. Now, if you've missed the previous webinar session that we had, we actually spoke a little bit about this, but the whole concept of creating future demand is to collect future revenue. It's a fact that closing sales right now is very, very tough. You are probably going through it. I can fully understand. And brands at this time are finding very innovative and creative ways to create this future demand so that they can collect future revenue. There are a number of ways to do it. You can go on pre-orders, you can have lead form, you can have booking form, you can have future purchase now for future consumption. It could be free subscription for now so that you can win users after this season. There's the whole aspect of sustaining the interest toward this period so that when we are officially lifted, no matter which part of the world are you, hopefully you are able to already have a good source of leads to be able to create the instant demand. And there are many brands already doing this. Of these brands based in Malaysia, some of them are from other countries. But if you look at it, you have restaurants, fine dining restaurants actually doing delivery, right? Before this, you have to go in there, nice table setting and all that. But right now, you can afford fine dining that's sent to your home. You have luxury brands like LV leveraging on future demand as well, trying to spur up as much conversations as possible in their autumn collection in China. The Marriott Group is promoting free Zoom virtual background so that it's as though you're on a holiday in your meetings. You have Faith in Malaysia allowing people to buy vouchers in advance so that to support the local restaurants, the small eateries around you. And when you're able to spend again, you're able to go there and redeem this. Nike is also doing quite a bit of workout videos that's posted through the app Nike Plus. And this is also done for free in this season. And I'm sure a lot of you have also been receiving a lot of WhatsApp texts, WhatsApp groups trying to promote whether it's buying vegetables online, fresh produce online, food online, whatever it is, right? People are shifting towards trying to create future demand. Pre-order is the key here. But what I really want to focus upon today is not the two above points, but this. The third thing that companies and brands are doing right now and should be doing right now is to actually spend time investing in your brand. You see, the thing is that we started off this session talking about a quarter of the brands going silent. And it's scary going silent because in this period of time when engagement is high, when digital consumption is high, consumers are consuming this information, but they are not discovering you because you've gone silent, right? And research has also shown it's actually okay for you to continuously communicate, engage your customers. In fact, customers are actually happy if you are still there, you're still alive, you're still engaging them, you're still talking to them, and they want you to be honest and transparent rather than trying to lie your way through or mislead them, because this will actually come back to bite you when it comes to you doing your promotions or advertising to them again. And there are many reasons for you to invest in your brand right now, whether it's you are looking for employment, whether it's for thought leadership, whether it's for your own company or personal visibility, or whether it's social selling. It's a great time to do it. Why? Because your brand is permanent. If people recognize you or associate you with a certain thing that you do very well, that is yours, and it carries and it stays with you as you go along in your career or in your own personal life. And this applies to you regardless of what kind of a profession or career path you're on. I don't care whether you're in insurance, you're in property, or you're just a student tuning in, you're in a tech business, you're in fashion, you're in retail, whatever it is, brand still sells. Your personal self sells, and that is very important. And in this time, branding has also become a little bit tricky now. Prior to this, branding was all about just exposure, trying to put yourself out there, trying to position yourself to solicit sales in the future, right? But in this time, a lot of customers have become very critical in their approach. In fact, there was this brand that just happened just days ago, right? Draper James in the US, founded by an actress, Reese Witherspoon. So what they have done is that they ran a campaign, a very nice, you can read some of the text on screen right now. It's a very nice campaign. They're using this pandemic times to appreciate teachers, right? So what they have done is that they're saying that, hey, if you're a teacher, we know that it's a tough time right now. We want to appreciate you. Fill up this form, we'll see your dress. Now, the dress aren't cheap, and they have quite a good following in the US because this is what they want. However, upon launching of this campaign, the consumers that saw this has become very critical. So what happened over here? The thing is that they only had 250 dresses to give away, all right? 250 dresses, not too bad. However, they had 1 million applications, right? So out of 3 million teachers in the US, 1 million actually signed up for this, and they could not cope, obviously, because they only have 250. Teachers became very agitated, they became very frustrated. They started having different groups, separate groups, their own, for asking each other, have you received it or not? I haven't. And some of these groups have tens of thousands of teachers within it, and none of them has received this. So this whole campaign, although it started off with a very good brand notion, because of certain operational considerations that they did not take, actually became some more like a marketing ploy, where people are becoming a little bit more pushed off, and then come this trending term called COVID washing. And if you search it up, there are a lot of other brands falling into this category at this point of time. So that said, why did this happen? Why some of the brands struggling when it comes to branding right now? It's very simple, because it comes down to this. The normal way of digital marketing isn't working, and it can't work at this point of time. And I'll give you 3 very straightforward reasons of why it can't work before I go into some of the tips and a guide of how you can undertake digital branding in this pandemic season. So the first reason is this. The normal way of digital marketing isn't working because consumers are highly sensitive, very, very sensitive. In fact, a research recently shows that 65% of their consumers say they will depend on how a brand actually responds during this crisis moment to determine whether they'll continue buying from you right now. Crazy, right? It's so scary, because this is exactly what happened to the example I just showed you about on Draper James. Because of this, they may experience a huge group of customers, teachers particularly, that may not want to buy from them anymore because of how they have responded to the crisis. It may not be 100% the brand's fault, but consumers are are very sensitive at this point in time. They're very high strung. Despite an honest mistake, they are very easily affected by small, simple things in the words that you use, in the pictures that you use, in the approach that you use. And that is what's happening right now. The second reason is that they're not only sensitive, consumers are also very, very cautious right now. All these uncertainties that we are faced in right now are causing a lot of customers to reevaluate, and reevaluate their purchase decisions. They are taking a lot of time trying to make sure that they're making the right move, they're spending the right money, it comes with a good value of return, it's relevant to them right now, it's tangible, and this comes down to familiarity. Research shows that over 60% of these brands are what customers are going to right now, these brands that they existingly trust. And this familiarity is not something new even. It contributes in a situation like that because in a situation where there's so much uncertainty, a lot of us tend to fall back to what we know best. The brands that we grew up with, the brands that our parents told us is a good brand, it's a reputable brand, brands that we have been following, purchasing from. So although some of these brands that we are already familiar with may have an additional cost, maybe delivery has increased, maybe cost of production has increased, consumers still buy from them. Why? Because of familiarity, because of this season of time, they want something to anchor themselves to have that trust. So if you are a new brand, you are just starting out right now, or you are probably not as big as some of your competitors, you are actually playing in the remaining 40%. The good part about this stat over here is that the remaining 40% are still open to new brands as long you share the right message, as long you share the right cause that resonates with them, consumers are still willing to try. So it's not all doom and gloom. And the third reason is that obviously it's a lot more to worry about. 77% of consumers claims that brands cannot ignore the situation. This means that in your messaging, in your videos, in your content, you cannot be ignorant about the situation and just focusing on yourself because it no longer works that way. Your customers, consumers, all of us are reading more in between the lines. And we are a lot more sensitive, as mentioned, therefore a lot more easily offended. Think about it. It is this period of time, right, where consumers not just worry about this pandemic, they're also talking about social welfare. They're talking about human rights. They're talking about animal rights. They're talking about how are we taking care of our environment with the increase of takeaway with plastics. They're talking about refugees. They're talking about supporting the economy. They're talking about global trade. There are a lot of things going on in the minds of consumers right now. And brands can't understand and take on that part of an understanding. This is where consumers fall out. And that is exactly what we want to talk about today. So if you've been staying on right now, this may come into your mind, this question, right? So how? What can I do in this time of pandemic? It looks bad for my brand. It looks bad for marketing. What can I do to stay alive? What can I do to continuously remain relevant to my customers, to my consumers, or to my prospects? Is it all doom and gloom? The answer is no, not really. And I want to spend the next 15 minutes or so just sharing with you six branding approach, 6 of them on how you can take this, implement it right now in this time of pandemic and bring it forward into when we recover, right? So it's going to be 6 sustainable steps that we're going to look at this morning. So the first thing is this, we'll need to find a path to connect. So the first question to ask yourself when it comes to branding in a time of pandemic is to ask yourself, is this relevant? Is what am I doing right now, my product, my offering, my messaging, still relevant given the current context in my market? So if you are playing a local game, you answer it from a local context, but if it's an international game, then global, right? But path to connect, something to focus. Why am I emphasizing on this? It's for a very simple reason. Prior to COVID, prior to the pandemic, the path was very simple. The path was always tied to your company mission, your individual passion, something that you can't leave eat or sleep without. It's something that drives you. It's basically the essence of your company, of why you went into the business in the first place. You believe very much in your product. You talk about it. You sell your services. You convince people to come on board. However, in this point of time, this same path may no longer be relevant in the times today. Why? Because the context has changed. People are more sensitive. We talked about it. People are more cautious. People are generally a lot more worrisome in this stage of mind. So what you need to do by answering the question is to find a new team, right? Think about something, a new topic, a new cause, a trend that you can relate to. Some of us call it the underserved path, meaning a path right now that is a need. It may not be your passion. Okay, it's not something that I have this burning desire to help. But at the very least, it should be a sustainable interest, something that you can take on, something that you can ride on for the next 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, because it's a cause close enough, but may not necessarily related to your business. So it could be something like to help the unemployed. Maybe it's to help the micro businesses. Is it to help students right now in education? Is it to help the refugees around that may be suffering a lot more than what we can see? Is it the group from the B40 or the mid 40 or the top 20 in your country? It does not need to be tied to your business, but something that you can fight for right now that has an interest that you have that is sustainable. Some brands have actually jumped on doing this. In fact, quite a number of them. You will notice that some of these brands appearing on screen right now, it's not their original path. Their business model was never built to cater to situations like that. But because when faced in situations like this, they have to pivot. They change their brand messaging to take on what they feel right and retain their best interest, their best sustainable interest in this season of time. So look at Airbnb. I'm sure all of us are very familiar with them. Did you know that they actually rallied over 100,000 hosts globally to provide accommodation for frontliners, people that are staying very far from their workplace? Airbnb is sponsoring these frontliners in their accommodation through the different host homes. Companies like Pizza Eats used to run on the usual catering model. In this season of time, they also repackage based on the current context to allow people to buy food for frontliners instead. My Burger Lab, great Malaysian burger brand, F&B, tap into the gaming community by actively setting up stores within Animal Crossing. I don't know how many of you play Animal Crossing, but if you do, maybe you can just tap the like button as you go along. Other companies as well, like Vogue in the fashion industry, are also helping fashion businesses to survive. They started a foundation to be able to donate or to help companies within the fashion industry that is struggling at this point of time to thrive, to stay alive, so that they will not close down within this trying period. And IKEA, depending how you pronounce it, using this opportunity as well to promote stay-home order in various countries, whether it's in Spain, whether it's in Singapore, to remind all of us that, hey, in this season, yes, stay at home. I know you're stuck at home, but it's a great time to bond with family. So different IKEAs in different countries have been running different campaigns, from just a video blitz to what happened in Singapore. Basically, what they did is they got consumer footage from different homes, compile it to showcase the small little family moments that we may be missing out, right? So context becomes very, very important right now in branding. The second thing that you should be doing right now in this season is to really spend time listening. A lot of us, when we approach digital marketing or we approach this whole branding topic, right, it's that they're focused very much on just creating the content, scheduling it, then let it run on autopilot. Now, that is great in a normal occasion because automation is very, very helpful. I love automation as well. However, in this period of time, because things change so quickly, just look at Malaysia, right? Just a couple of days back, we were announcing that we're going to extend this entire thing to 12th of May. And just within 2 or 3 days, there is a change and update again to say, no, we are going to do conditional and everybody is free to go back to work on the 4th. things are changing, things are moving, news and situation is changing. So whatever that you may have planned last week or 2 weeks ago may no longer be relevant today. So you always want to listen, read articles, follow competitors, follow your friends, stay updated to what's going on in your industry and whether are you still appropriate, are you still relevant, are you still having the content and messaging that people are wanting to hear from. The next one is have system. Now, this system I'm going to talk to you about right now and share with you is a little bit different from the usual digital marketing system. It's a branding system that is designed to work within this pandemic situation. And the question here is that why we want to have this system is very simple. Is to answer this question of how can we ensure that all these grounds are covered, that we are listening well, that we are in the right context, we are posting it right, we are sharing the right things. Because the biggest trap when it comes to marketing or branding within this pandemic season is the temptation to capitalize in this situation, right? You want to show that, hey, we are fun, we are witty, we can joke about the situation, don't worry. And that is actually a very bad and very wrong move, again, because people are very, very sensitive. Therefore, this system is in place. Now, case in point are just these three companies out of many others. Corona Beer probably has the best potential to perform marketing in this time, right? They have the best, or I would say not so fortunate branding at this point of time. And these three other companies are trying to capitalize on the situation, which turned out very, very bad for them. So Corona here posted something on social media saying that, hey, Corona is coming ashore to places near you. Now, in a normal situation, that's great. People will understand it. People probably laugh and probably look forward to it. But in this situation, do you really want Corona to come ashore? Simple messaging like that have put thousands of customers off, calling them as a very insensitive brand. And then you have small players as well, companies like Homemade Peanut Butter, right? This guy over here, the name is censored, but basically what happened is that there was another brand that ran a very successful social media campaign in creating future demand, but the catch is that they needed 45 days to deliver. So this other guy came in and said that, hey, we are not this other company, you don't need to wait for 45 days. Buy from us, we get to deliver to you within X amount of days, that's significantly lesser, you don't need to wait. Guess what? Huge flag. Everybody turned against them. Consumers are angry. Consumers are outraged. Why are you capitalizing on other people's misfortune? And then you have Singapore, Circus Life from Singapore, right? Trying to tap on this. The messaging on this says that, look, we are not a personal healthcare company. We cannot cure the disease. However, we have 99% uptime. We can't kill 99% of the viruses, but we have 99% uptime for data. Guess what? Bad timing, bad taste. People were also very, very unhappy with how companies like this have been positioning themselves, trying to take advantage of the situation and messaging. That does not work. So the system model actually comes in just 5 very simple components that you can refer to this. The first is to always analyze your context, to be aware of the current context and situation, whether it's on a global level, whether it's on a local context, or maybe it's a hyper-local context because you are a micro business. Number 2, you want to be very updated on what not just your consumers are talking about, but also what the general public is talking about. You want to spend time listening, reading. What is the main concern right now? Is it still the fatality of virus, or is it more of coping with the economy situation? Is it unemployment, or is it going back to work, or is it the uncertainty of the future? Is it the safety of the family? Is it the sicknesses that they are currently going through and the hospitals are packed? What is the main concern in your community, in your audience group right now? You need to spend time actually listening to them. And then re-evaluate your priorities. Is your sales approach still relevant? Is it a must right now? Yes, of course, we all need to make sales. We need that income to come in to stay alive. That's true, but at the same time, to know whether it's appropriate for the moment. Yes, you should still do sales in the best ability as you can, but how can you change the messaging a bit, which leads to number 4, to reevaluate your offer or value positioning. Look at what are you offering to your customers right now. Can you change it up a little bit? Can you bundle it a little bit differently? Can you change the messaging a little bit so that it bonds better with your consumers right now, instead of how the three other brands have done earlier? And last but not least, the final step then only comes to assess your creatives. Meaning that in this situation, you should not just jump 100% right in and just say, oh, okay, this sounds like a good post, this sounds like a good brand messaging, let me just post it up. No. 4 steps before that, make sure you analyze your context, listen, you know what you're doing, look at your priorities, make sure your offer or your value is right to your customers before even going into your messaging. You don't want to fall into the same category as examples earlier. You don't want to use very stiff words like contagious or a sick day or playing a very untasteful prank on April Fools. You want to make this very tastefully done, very respectful in this period of time. The next thing that you should also be looking at is to create content. Now, talk about content, and I'm sure you're also very familiar with content creation. So you've always heard people talking about consistent content, but when it comes to branding, original content is also very important. The question here is that, are all my creative elements today actually still relevant and appropriate to the current situation? So it's not just going into looking at the messaging, but you want to also look at tone of voice, your vocabulary, the slang that you have, not just another Me Too that you copied from somewhere and pay, something that belongs to you, not duplicated. And one great way to do this is to actually tap into audience's conversation. So as you listen to them, as per the system introduced earlier, you also want to tap into the conversation to talk to them, to use this time to engage them, not just for user-generated content or UGC. That's great if you can produce them, but more so for UGI, user-generated input, to actually use this chance to listen to your customers, talk to them, find out how they are doing, and what is it that you can do to extend value in their current situation. And some brands have been doing this particularly well. Now, I came across this brand called Who Gives a Crap, right? I don't know whether you've heard of them before. They're an Australia-based company, but they basically sell toilet paper. And we all know when this pandemic happened, in many, many countries, what's the first thing that flew off the shelf and you cannot buy anymore are toilet paper, right? And it's still a product that it's quite difficult to find, and it's something they are still going through right now. They ran out of stock. So the difference is that, okay, let me just give you a bit of background before you laugh it off to say that hey, it's just toilet paper, you know. Basically, these guys are creating toilet paper not from trees but from bamboo, right? So it's more sustainable. They've always been an environmental first company. So therefore, when this situation happened, customers wanted to stock up on toilet paper. They're not able to fulfill. They pivoted their messaging, right? So they actually listened. They created original content in the form of articles and videos talking about how the green industry right now is being impacted and what are they doing right now to do about it. So you can actually read their blog. Their blog is actually very entertaining. It's great. It's a great read. You should go check it out. You have companies like DoubleTree, the hotel, right? They have been listening to their customers. And one of the things that they have listened is that customers are craving for their chocolate chip cookies, right? So they produce very good chocolate chip cookies, and some of the regular customers are craving for it. And it's the first time in history DoubleTree actually highlighted this request, acknowledged it, and have published their secret recipe of this cookie online. And many right now are actually creating it from their homes, taking pictures, tagging DoubleTree, a great branding approach. And then you have people like Dettol, right? We all know that everybody's buying sanitizers right now. They have also launched a TikTok campaign trying to encourage hand washes at this point of time. And this particular campaign is so successful that it actually has about 18 billion views right now. Not million, 18 billion views. And guess how many people actually participated in this TikTok dance? 123,000 people actually participated since 14 March. So less than 2 months, the result has been amazing from a brand approach. What you want to also look at this point of time is to collaborate. I know that a lot of us want to compete, we want to stay ahead of the game, but collaboration is a lot more important in this season time. And a lot of companies are also going to collaborations, in which I'll share with you later. But what you want to do, the objective here is to create synergy. You want to be able to tap from each other's audience, want to generate excitement between two brands. You also want to share costs, or maybe not to share the cost, but to even optimize the cost, or to bring relevant value, because it's something maybe a little bit out of your current product offering or services. You don't have the capabilities to fulfill that, but partnering or collaborating with somebody else, another company, may help you achieve that, whether it's a form of entertainment, whether it's a form of helping other companies to save money, or really just a form of appreciation and concern for the audiences you are targeting right now. So some companies have been doing quite a number of things, quite amazing things. These are just some of it. In the US, they've partnered up with Amazon to switch all their ride-sharing services into package delivery. So if you buy something from Amazon, you get your package delivered through Lyft. In Malaysia, you have MyCorey and T-Life teaming up to produce a dessert combination that is otherwise not possible before this. So two popular brands coming together, sending it to your home. Right now, you get shaved ice with boba, right? Brown sugar boba. So if you're a fan, you can also check them out. Colway, the water filter, the air filter, team up with GrabFood, so that whenever you order a GrabFood order, you actually get a safe kit distributed complimentary from Colway. You also have companies in Germany like McDonald's actually partnering and collaborating with companies like LD, which is a grocery, is a grocer, right, based in Germany. So what happens is that there is a staff sharing concept going on right now, where if McDonald's cannot function and it's not functioning 100%, the staff of McDonald's can actually work in LD, so that these people remain employed and won't be just out from the jobs right now. And then you have companies like Razer and Zook trying to bring entertainment into your homes. And what they are doing is that they're bringing clubbing or your parties into the cloud, where you will just party from home. They have DJ, the whole experience is set up, and you can party with thousands of people that has tuned in from the comfort of your own home. Last but not least, in terms of branding in time of pandemic, is to go personal. How can all of us as companies right now be a bit more approachable, to take on a more human and personable personality when we to engage with a brand? How can we be helpful and considerate right now? See, before the pandemic, a lot of us just see the brand as it is. We know how good the product is. We know how good the service is. In fact, that is what brands focus upon. They talk about their product and services a lot. And that has always been the face of the company. Many people do not know who are the people behind it, and there was no reason to find out. But in this season and time, where if I'm a brand, if I'm just going to continuously push products to you, consumers, or rather research has shown, consumers will be put off because of all the heightened concerns so far. So what you want to really do is to use this chance to reevaluate your approach. Think of certain keywords that could help bring a more personable approach. And some brands have been doing this pretty well as well. So McDonald's, CEO of McDonald's in the Philippines, actually recorded a video of himself trying to give his customers the assurance of the measures that's been taking place in all the outlets. He's also showing the amount of dedication and seriousness there are in this particular matter. In fact, in one of the statements, he actually said that if anything goes worry, we will not hesitate in closing all the outlets in a minute. So amazing, and that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to be personable, showing the face behind the company. A sports brand leaning similarly, apart from just talking about their sportswear, their equipment, and all of that, they're also using this chance to engage all ambassadors, which are national shuttlers from Malaysia, Singapore, Thailand, and Philippines, and all of that, to actually come in to produce videos of how you can actually still train for badminton while you're at home, how you can do your workouts. And these are actual national athletes walking you through very basic tips for those that are still in the game. Luxury brands like Prada, Never before this they have gone on live stream. Never before this we have seen the people behind. You've probably seen the shops, you've probably spoken to a sales consultant before, but who are the people behind the scenes? This time, this season, Prada has also been having a series of webinars on IG, on Instagram. They're going on Instagram Live every other week or every 2 weeks, featuring key executives, the people responsible behind the brand, the people responsible of design, distribution, and they're going to the deeper parts of the business of how they're affected, how the lives being affected, the manufacturing, the supply chain, what's the brand doing right now to cope with the particular situation. So it's actually beyond just having an image as some text, as a press release, trying to impress your consumers or audience out there, but rather to put a face out there, to be very more intentional in the approach and the messaging that you're giving to your customers. But in conclusion, if after hearing all of this in the past 40 minutes and you are still lost, you don't know where to start, just remember this last statement. Right? If you don't know what to do, just be useful. Just think about it. Just take away your hats as a brand. Think from a consumer perspective that we are consumers. Sometimes all we want is a relatable brand. We want something that is simple. We want something tangible. We want something valuable. We want something beneficial. So it's not about how much sales you can make, although that would be great. But if you don't know how to establish that within this season of time, at the very least, start by being useful, start by being concerned, start by showing the human side of you, and that will go a long way when it comes to branding and marketing, even post-pandemic times. And with that, I think it's time for us to take questions if we have any.
Yeah, all right. Thank you so much, Jen. I hope that you guys have learned something. We have 6 practical how-tos for you to kind of practice. So hopefully you guys gain something. So we have about 20 minutes for questions. We actually have a few questions already. But I need someone to elaborate. So Matthew, in the comment section, I think you mentioned about how about life insurance and sales advisory. Could you elaborate a little bit more on your question, in what context, so that Jen can give you more information. But while waiting for that, we actually also have another question. Any keywords we should avoid during this time when working on our branding / postings?
Good question. In fact, there are a lot of articles out there. In fact, there's this website that actually compiled a list of words that you shouldn't use at all. I think it all comes down to very sensitive words, like I mentioned earlier, words like contagious, words like being safe. You want to make sure that you use it in the right context. The word virus or viral marketing at this point of time may not bode well with many different people. The words that you use, like the pandemic times, are you using it in the right context, in the right description? People are very heightened right now. So you may really want to just do some quick Googling before you actually use some of these keywords, just to be safe. It's copywriting is not as simple as before anymore. Even if you want to try to be witty, this is a time you need to be witty and respectful and conscious at the same time. Yes.
Yeah. All right. Maybe just to share a little bit of insights from your end. If let's say they want to do content, or because like you mentioned, original content in your points, do you have any suggestions for the type of content or what type of content they should go into for any industry, really?
Okay. When it comes to content, when it comes to original content for different industries, it really comes down to a few things, right? It comes down to what your company is actually doing right now. That's number one. Number two, it comes down to that purpose or that underserved path that we've talked about earlier. It comes down to the current mediums that you are able to produce. And the last but not least, also very important, is the personality that you're wanting to take, meaning your tone of voice. Are you wanting to be do it in a way where I'm just going to record a video, look at me, I'm just going to share my current thoughts with you in that manner, or is it going to be an article highlighting certain key things that I'm doing right now? So you want to make it very relevant to your company or your current situation or your personal individual brand and experiences, and use that in connecting with your audience instead of just putting up, hey, this is my company, we are thankful for the frontliners, full stop. Right? Everybody can create a content like that. That's not original at all. You want something that is more inclined towards what your company believes in and your product and your services.
All right. Okay, we have a few more questions coming in. One of the questions is, are EDMs useful during this period? And the second part of the question is, how should a brand, should they decide to reach out to consumers, differentiate themselves from the thousands of emails consumers receive?
Okay, EDMs are a very interesting topic in this season. Yeah, I think that's a great question because let me tell you this, for those of you that are watching, right, EDMs in this season, it's kind of destroyed, right? It's a huge word to use, but just give me 1 minute to explain why I said EDMs are destroyed. EDMs are destroyed because of the amount of unemployment rate that is going on right now. A lot of times in our EDMs, we keep email addresses of the professional email addresses, right? Alias our company name. And with a staggering amount of unemployment happening right now, means there is a potential of at least 20 to up to 50% of your email database being obsolete because of unemployment, meaning that you have no longer being able to reach them. So yes, it is still useful from a tech perspective because that's one way you're able to reach out to them. In fact, it's one of the best ways to reach out to them in a personalized manner, right? Because in EDMs, you're able to customize it, you're able to greet them by name, you're able to classify them in different types of engagement, interests, or activities and speak to them. But at the same time, it may not be as effective as before, simply because people may have abandoned their emails due to unemployment. Now, when it comes to the second part of the question, it was what again? To how can brand reach out?
Like, no, to differentiate themselves, yeah, from others, yeah.
Okay, so when it comes to differentiation, you are right to say that a lot of us receive a lot of emails on a daily basis. I don't know about you, but every day I receive at least 5 to 10 different emails on different webinars. People like Lazada and Zalora is really using this time to share new promotions and updates and all of that. The basics of email marketing still applies, fortunately, meaning that it all comes down to your targeting of your audience to make sure that your title is actually relevant to the people that are receiving right now. So what you want to do is to look into your titles, make sure that you deliver the main point in your title rather than keeping it in your body. It's okay having a slightly longer title, but make sure it still appears within a glance. The key keywords are there to interest or to excite the person actually clicking on the email. This is actually also related to one of the points I shared earlier today when it comes to familiarity in consumers, right? If you have always been engaging your consumers, your mailing list, then this would be an advantage to you because they won't see it as a foreign email like, why is this brand suddenly trying to talk to me? Why am I suddenly receiving this email? But if you're only starting it right now, then you need to work on giving a reason for these recipients on why they should even read your email from the title itself.
Yeah, you don't want to give them a perception that you're taking advantage of this time, like you mentioned before.
Yes.
Yeah. I think it's a good chance to be personable through your EDMs because, like you mentioned, you can be very direct because you can mention the person by name. You know what this person likes. So it's a very good chance for you to be more personal with your emails, I think, especially with your EDMs. So reaching out to them, be very honest because you're reaching your consumers directly. You can be very honest in your EDMs. Just let them know what is happening. Be as transparent as you can. I think that's a good angle to kind of go into instead of the usual, here is the promo, go and buy now. But you can maybe angle it in that way.
Yes.
And I think that might have more consumers opening up and relating with you as a brand in this period of time. All right.
Yep.
So I think Matthew kind of replied. So his question
Okay.
is, will non-face to okay, I mean, I'll just say it. Will non-face-to-face for financial sales advisory be here to stay?
Okay.
Hmm.
So when it comes to sales and recruitment in financial advisory, particularly for
Yes.
insurance, I would also assume.
Yeah,
Uh,
the question was life insurance sales advisory. Yes.
yes, it will actually also stay to a certain extent, right? We have
Mm-hmm.
looked at how consumers' behavior has changed, and it's also agreed across various industries that a lot of these new things that we have learned in this season of time, 50 to 60% of us will stick to what we have learned because
Yeah.
maybe we have experienced the convenience of not having to drive all the way to a Starbucks, sit down, order a cup of coffee, wait for the person to arrive, spend 2 hours, and just substitute that to a Zoom call. Save on
Mm.
traveling, save on coffee in the comfort of my home. Let's do it, right? So, sales, not just in the financial services industry, but in other industries, we are also expecting to see an increase or at least a sustaining component in using tech. But at the
Mm.
same time, this entire movement towards technology in whether it's doing sales or in pictures and whatnot will not 100% substitute physical interaction.
Right.
So this means that right now, you as a salesperson or an agent will have the option of offering up to consumers simply because they won't be foreign to the concept anymore. Now, before this, you can imagine, right? If let's say if I'm a financial advisor and I would like to meet you and tell you about a product that I'm currently offering, and I would say, can I do a video call? I don't know about you, but if somebody did that to me before this, I would be a little bit creeped out and a little bit uncomfortable, right? Like,
Okay.
why do you want a video call when we could meet up? It sounds a bit fishy, it sounds not credible, but because of this situation that we are also exposed to video calls right now, if we come out of it and say, hey, can we have a video call instead of meeting up at Starbucks? Chances
Right.
are people are more accepting. People understand that, yeah, sure, why not? I've done this before, I can do it again. Therefore,
Mm.
right now, you'll be presented as an option. Great for the consumer, great for you as well. It's up to you to see which would you prefer.
All right. I hope that answers your question, Matthew. I'm only directing it to you because you asked that question. All right. So thank you so much for all your questions. I hope we managed to answer them as much as, or at least Jen managed to answer them as clearly as possible. So before we actually end this stream, um, I would just like to share with you guys a little bit more some exciting updates on Open Academy and what is happening with Open Academy. So if you can see the screen, you can see a QR code, a link to a thing called Digital Marketing Starter Kit. So what it is actually a starter kit to kind of teach you the foundations of digital marketing. So if you're ever curious about digital marketing or you don't know where to start, how to do it, where to go, this is a kit that is meant for you. It has bite-sized content, very much on the go. Short videos, we have written content with quotes, facts, surveys within the pack itself. So we have up to about 50 short videos and about 240 over written content within that pack itself. So if you're very much interested to kind of find out what digital marketing is about and how to kind of start, this is the pack for you. So you can scan the code. If you are not able to scan the code, there's a link right there that you can click into it to kind of find out more about the pack itself. And for today, we also have a special coupon code because you are so nice and you join us for this webinar session during this public holiday. So the special coupon code is actually OA webinar. It's case sensitive, so make sure you put in all capital letters. You get actually 50 ringgit off this pack itself. You get early access and you get 50 ringgit off. So if you key in the code, you will be able to get access to this starter kit. Yeah, so that is about it. We actually have, all right. Thank you so much for joining us. So I think as the session went by, you saw a QR code as well. So if you scan the QR code, you will be guided into a contact us form. If not, if you missed out on that, please do click in the bit.ly link to fill out your information if you'd like to know more about sessions like these. We will be doing these sessions quite frequently in the coming months. to kind of, I hope this is entertainment for you guys or something to learn on a public holiday or during this MCO period. So please do fill in this information. We will drop you an email. We won't spam you, don't worry, but we'll drop you an email, inform you, give you early access and more information about sessions like this. So please do fill out your information. We'll leave this screen out for a little while longer so you guys can actually get the link and key it in. We will also, let me just show you guys the QR code. If you cannot, if typing in the link is a little bit trickier, just scan the QR code. You can reach us there. And also you can follow us at Open Academy. You can also find out more information over there as well. So before I end, we actually have one question that came in a little bit later. So because you guys are so good today and so nice, I will let Jen answer this question for you guys. So let me just ask this question. So I think this question says, how should we approach clients who believe spending on paid media to raise awareness during this time is pointless? They may feel there is no direct benefit or return due to the quarantine. Then it's a bracket that says client with sales-based mentalities, although there is no proof that their mentality has worked for the brand. So basically, how do you convince a client to go into paid media? I will remove this so we can see your face.
So, paid media at this point of time is very, very sensitive, right? I mean, although the cost is low right now, it has good reach. What you want to do is that to also position, you need to reevaluate the outcome of the paid media. If the paid media is really just going to focus on 100% sales like how it was done before, then you may not get the results that you want anyway. But the good news is that because the cost for every click-through rate is significantly lower right now, 26% lower right now, it's a good chance to talk to your clients and say, hey, you don't need to spend that amount that you used to spend with me back then. Instead, we are able to perform, or we are able to take on this exact same service, give us a little bit, let us navigate with this set of budget, and if you're able to see certain form of results, then we will proceed again. So there's two things: balancing cost, budget that you have, making sure that you are repositioning your value properly to who you want to target through the ads.
All right. I hope that answers your question. Okay, so that was the last question. No more questions anymore. So thank you so much for joining us. Thanks, Jen, for giving his input and sharing today. So do stay tuned. We'll have more sessions like these coming up. Please fill out your information and follow us on our social media. And we will see you guys soon. Bye. Thank you so much. Thanks, guys.
Bye.